What's up, guys? Welcome to the Chess Giant. This is Solomon Ordell. In today's video, I actually have a question for you guys, and that's whether you prefer playing with the white or black pieces. Now, this question may seem silly because the large majority of players obviously like to get that first move, but I've met players that like black or even just are more comfortable with their black opening repertoires. I myself used to fall in this category, and if this is you, I actually recommend this move of A3 with the Anderssen Opening. What on earth is white doing here? Well, I actually don't think that A3 is a bad move at all. First off, for the rest of this game, if we play this move knight C3, bishop B4 is simply not going to be possible because of our pawn on this A file. And on top of that, we can always play this move B4, expanding on the queen side at a moment's notice. My personal recommendation for you guys is to act as if you're playing with the black pieces. Now, obviously, it's a little bit different, or at least it feels a little bit different because our queen is on the left side of the board opposed to the right, as if we're playing from the black perspective. But let's just cover a few different options that you may see from black in this position, and then we can now plug in our black opening repertoires, but with this pawn on A3, which is definitely an improvement, especially pertaining to which opening you go with. Let's say black continues now with E5. This is a move you may see quite a bit. Okay, well, let's now ask what opening you play with the black pieces. If you're a Sicilian player, okay, let's play this move C4 using our queen, bishop, pawn, pushing it up 2 squares, and all of a sudden you're playing a Sicilian defense, but with this pawn up 1 square on the A file. Here, if black continues knight F6, let's just say you're a knight F player. Okay, D3, black now expands in the center of the board. We continue now with knight F3, continue with E3 here, and there you go. You're playing the Sicilian knight Orf, but up an extra tempo, which is huge because this opening theory is so sharp. So obviously, if you're a Sicilian player against this move E5, let's just play C4, and you got yourself a really nice position to work with. If you're a Caro-Kann player, you can play C3 and D4. If you're a Pirc Defense player, let's now continue with D3 and knight F3 from white. And here, if you're a French player, we can always continue with E3, fighting for that central square on D4. The one move I personally don't like too much here for white is this move of D4, trying to play a Scandinavian defense type system with the white pieces, because here after pawn takes D4 and queen takes D4, followed by swinging our queen over to this A4 square, this move A3 really just doesn't work too well with the Scandinavian defense type system. Even then, it is playable, and it's not like white's losing at all, but I personally would go with one of the options I just mentioned. What if instead of the move E5, you here see the move of D5? Well, let's now ask ourselves, okay, what is my main opening option against the move D4 whenever I play with black? If you're an old Benoni defense player, let's now continue with C4. If you like the Queen's Gambit declined, okay, D4 followed by E3. And here, if you're a Benko Gambit player, let's continue with knight F3, followed by C4. Whole idea being after D4, we can play B4. If you do play the Benko Gambit, you're probably used to having this A pawn right in front of your rook. But in this case, okay, we have a pawn on A3, which fits very well with this Benko Gambit setup. Here, white with a hyperdynamic and playable game. So y'all, for these options of E5 and D5, I personally recommend just trying to plug in your black opening repertoires against that move with a slight improvement to many of those openings because of this pawn on A3. What happens here if we see this move of C5? I actually find that this is an interesting option for black, really trying to go, look, I noticed that you're trying to play B4 at some point in this game. I'm simply going to start putting pressure on this square. There's a lot of different moves that we can go with, but I personally find this move of E4 very fascinating. This actually transposes into the delayed wing gambit against the move C5. Let's just say that against the move E4 starting off the game, your opponent is a French defense player. Well, now by playing this move A3, you got them to play C5, you play E4, and all of a sudden you got a French defense player playing the Sicilian defense. And this move is actually surprisingly strong. We've seen plenty of players, including none other than the Ginger GM Simon Williams, use this to win some of the biggest games of his life. And really the idea of this move A3, usually played at move 2 against Sicilian defense, is to really support this option of B4. And if white takes the pawn on B4, we're going to get quite a bit of compensation, and black can lose that game very quickly. For example, let's just say black plays a move like knight C6. Okay, let's play B4. Here, if black decides to take the pawn on B4, we can now continue with C3 and D4, really trying to take full control of the center of the board. And if black tries to fight for the center, we can take on D5 and then play this somewhat odd-looking move of knight A3. But guys, white is on the brink of winning this game. I have played this move more times than I can even think of, and I beat multiple master level players very quickly because they didn't know what to do against this. First off, we're threatening to play knight b5, which looks to play knight c7 with a powerhouse fork against the king, rook, and queen. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this move of a6 trying to stop knight b5, but if we see this move, we're just going to play knight b5 anyways, Whole idea being if black captures off, thank you for the rook on a8. I've also seen this move of knight f6 quite a bit, in which case, okay, we're going to play knight b5, attacking this square of c7. And once this queen drops back to d8, we now play d5. I mean, against knight e5, bishop f4 is simply crushing. And here, if knight takes d5, we can actually just take this knight off with our queen. Whole idea being after queen takes d5 from black, we have knight c7. And again, this powerhouse fork, the very next move, we're about to be up a piece for 2 pawns, and white is simply winning this. This is only one of those lines and variations, but I do find that that is a very interesting transposition against the move c5 with the Anderssen opening going into the Delayed Wing Gambit. Now, if you'd like to learn more on the Delayed Wing Gambit and the theory behind it, click that video to the left. If you'd like to learn more on the Ponziani Opening, click our Ponziani Opening playlist to the right. Leave a comment down below to let me know what other videos you'd like to see covered on this channel. And as always, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.